if you look at Japan and Korea, is there somewhere along the line, the Korean government, the Japan government, takes an initiative, calls in all the big companies in Japan or in Korea, and they say, okay, these are the companies that we want to emulate and we want to be better than them. Because if you don't do that, I don't think competitiveness is something that you can do if like for example, Malaysia looked east, like Professor Sato, you said that Japan looked west. And then from that experience, you learned from best practices, and you improved it, and you became your own market leader. So the whole philosophy about competition is that you've got to take on somebody. Now, who does that? If, for example, Malaysia wants to be competitive, education is going to take us about 12 years, or maybe 2020 is 12 years away. While I agree with my fellow, commentators that we definitely need to revamp the education system, what do we do with the workforce in the interim? Because if you look at the young people in the job market today, you tell a group of young people, be creative and be innovative. What's the carrot? They're going to ask you, yes, if we do this, what do we get out of it? So we need to build an environment. We look at blue ocean strategy, we look at red ocean strategy. What is that drive? It's either you kill the competitor, which is the Porter model, or the blue ocean strategy, where you must have good information about the environment, about the competition, before you can create your own market space. So I think this whole issue about competitiveness, creativity, and innovation is rather loose. You need to define very clearly what is it that the country wants to do, which country they want to emulate, and how do we go for it? I don't know, maybe somebody commented that.
Thank you, Smith. Anyone who wants to respond to that? Mr. Ridley, yes?
Yeah, I think that's an extremely good question in terms of competitiveness. When you look at UNESCO at the UN several years ago, when the Secretary General of UNESCO under the Reagan administration wanted to create a whole new educational system globally so that there will be a total different kind of pedagogical influence. The Secretary General of UNESCO happened to be Sinhalese, the first African Secretary General of UNESCO. That kind of activity created the pullout of Britain and the United States in terms of funding UNESCO. It eventually led to the downfall of UNESCO as we know it. Anytime anyone wanted to create a new model, a new pedagogical influence that would indeed change the mindset, really change the mindset, and change the behavior pattern, you get the normal response of the status quo. Competitiveness can be good, but not at the style that we have today. It really just is not working today. So I think that we're going to have to come up with new kinds of strategies that comes from a different kind of mindset. There's one thing about the younger generation is that they refuse to put up with the hypocrisy of the traditional way of doing things. So I think that there's a great opportunity, a great window to produce new concepts that will actually make a revamping of the educational system possible.
Thank you. Just as a remark, I think it is of course one strategy to go after a specific country you want to compete with.
regulating, etc. I mean, that's the way Japan is also able to innovate in a commercial way coming from the Second World War. So that will work. It will only take you so far. And if you look at India, for example, India's competitive position.